Week 8 in our art journal journey with Kari's prompts. Mixed media meets Izzy in a playful memory prompt.
Hello, this is Patricia.
And I am Mariah the M. Together we are
PM Artist Studio.
Hey, we appreciate you stopping by. Please show your support by liking this video and commenting below. Now, let's get started. So, the prompts, I'll read those off real quick if you don't see it up on the screen. It is red was the main color, yellow the accent, then,
Whoops.
I know, I read it off there way too quick, didn't I? You saw them on the screen.
Yeah. It's okay. I think we don't need to
Beat it
talk
over.
about that.
Although,
it had black and white in it. You're supposed to have a stamp or an insect. Let me see. Or insect or animal.
Which we were like, oh, shoot, we kind of forgot that, but really we didn't. So we decided that a 3-year-old, and actually in this picture there, she was right before turning 3.
Yes.
We decided. And so we decided she's kind of like an animal. And plus, the stamp we end up using
is
what we call the dinosaur stamp. And we use that in a lot of our paper sets. And P started out, the reason we call it the dinosaur stomp is that she had made a dinosaur for Izzy. Izzy smushed it. And then she's like, oh, well, that looks interesting. And that became the dinosaur stomp.
Well, and actually, Izzy played. There were 2 of them, and they played together, and they frolicked together. And
2 became 1.
After a while, they were not recognizable, and she really wasn't interested anymore. So I just squished them all together, looked down at it, and thought, "Oh, that's kind of interesting. I wonder what that looked like. I'm going to ink it." And then this is what happened. And you can tell by looking at it, it's just a rolled up piece of kneaded eraser.
And so she gave me a terrible ink pad to start with. It was not anywhere near juicy or...
Yeah, I don't know. I just need to get rid of it.
And you have to be a little easy with some of those kneaded eraser stamps because they...
You don't want to smush them.
Yeah, you just can't be, getting heavy-handed. And you saw that we did the little brayer roll of yellow. It wasn't quite... And P warned me. She's like, why don't you put it down on that red paper? Speaking of which, that red paper is some awesome stuff that we got in one of our little ventures off to the paper store before, the pandemic hit and we can't go anymore. But it has a velvety, it's called I think it's a Curious brand of paper, and it's called Touch or Skin.
It's really,
They're different,
really wonderful.
Yeah, different paper companies make a similar product. So, hey, if you're feeling inspired and you haven't liked the video already, we really would love for you to do that. It shows us that you love us and helps us be seen by others, according to
Have we talked about the writing yet?
Well, we haven't really gotten to the writing yet.
Well, I think I'm over there thinking about it or practicing.
Well, we were talking, at this point we were talking about it. And so there was a big discussion on writing.
Oh, yes, with the fat.
Right. And so P was originally going to write the whole thing. And so I gave her the fat marker. She's like, there's no way I can fit all of the wording in there. So then
Plan B.
And then I was like, well, what would be cool is if we did a little bit in the lower part of the paint and then a bit in the upper. Oh, and I found the
smaller
Posca markers because I knew that was going to write the best on this velvety finished paper because it is some very sensitive stuff. Like you saw, like when I was gluing things down, how careful I was. I don't know if you noticed that or not. But yes, you have to be very sure and not get anything in the areas you don't want it to be because it will show up.
Unforgiving paper.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the final discussion.
Yes, there's my hand. You see my fingers?
Oh,
I've been playing with ink.
With dog hair on it. That's great. So now, yes. And this is when, I found the smaller ones. Or no, I was writing out in the fatter. Or is that I think that's the skinnier one.
I think it's the skinnier one because I think
And
by the
then-
time I sat down
and then
there,
there was a big discussion on how do you spell Lellow, because that's how Izzy says yellow, and we love it, and we have actually encouraged her to keep it. I know that it's probably
I know kids will make fun of her at school.
that's fine. Builds character, I suppose.
Yeah. Now here, we're discussing where it needs to end up in order for her to
Like
get
for
her.
a while, like this. We
I mean,
probably
it
spent
did.
We spent more time on figuring out where to write the little thing.
We did. It was just like, okay, everything else is happening here. But how are we going to get those letters to come out? Oh, and we finally,
Well, and then you said, all right, well, if you're going to write Lellow in yellow, then we need to write red in red. And that's,
Yes.
Well, so that added a new. And so there, I'm kind of testing it out, like, you know, sort of visually.
yeah, she's air writing.
Air writing. Figure it out. And I will say, so the other thing that I had done, I did not Photoshop her hands. Like, they were the paint was actually those colors. I did bump it up a little bit just because it was kind of dull. But that was the actual paint that was on her, you know, right hand was more red and left hand was
She
yellow.
was very much into the tactile,
She's still kind of
kinetic.
is, if you don't watch her.
I picked the other one that we were thinking about was where she'd actually painted the whole front of her body.
Red.
And if you wonder why she doesn't have clothes on, it's because, yeah.
It was just ridiculous at that point in time to keep putting clothes on her and trying to keep paint off of them.
Okay, finally decided to go with my cool
Yes.
little pen, and then here's the.
And then we thought it was pretty interesting or fun. And it, you know, just a memory of a memory would be us adding in the fact that P got to write some of it, and then I wrote in some of it. And then there was a discussion, all caps. You know, choosing your font is very important. And then, you know, your case.
So red got to be red,
Yes.
and
Lellow.
Lellow gets to be Lellow.
And then I was like, darn it, I didn't.
Prime it.
Yeah, I didn't. But look at that professional business going on there. I did have to go back over it a little bit. Then, once it was kind of dried, we realized.
Red went away. You could no longer see red because it happened to be right where there was a little streaky part in the.
Yeah, Lellow paint.
Yes. And you know, if we thought about this, you know, hindsight's always 20/20. Started the yellow on this side, so because this was
Yeah.
where the red was gonna go. Because
But that wouldn't have been a very natural roll for me, I don't think. Like a pull
well,
up.
if you turn it or turn the card around.
Oh,
you
well,
could've
that is an option too.
turned the card upside down.
Sometimes it's the obvious thing that seems.
Is it? Yeah, it's the one that you think of
No,
last.
don't judge me. And so then I was like, well, I kind of started that. I think
She
it
got
needs
the
to be-
dots, and she just got okay.
Well, it had to be because I couldn't just do it in that area. This is kind of one of those things where I don't know if you really call it a mistake, but it definitely needed to be repeated.
That's what I say.
She does. Says it all the time. Just
I actually made a poster with that and put it up in my classroom when I was teaching.
And I was like, well, I wanted to kind of spread them out, make them bigger at the one end, and then tighten them up down there. But
Unfortunately, the yellow that's mixed up there is one that I actually made that has
well, see,
lots of stuff in it.
yeah, that's new
Different
information.
stuff. Well, it came out of the Mod Podge container, so you
I
know
really
that it
wanted
was.
it to be sparkly. That's why at the very beginning in the video, and why the Caleros were out. But it was all kind of moving kind of quickly with some of these other decisions.
I just thought it needed to be more
And you were being kind of
simple.
grumpy with me, so I didn't want to.
Yeah, we were just coming off of a. We really need to do something with your stuff over there, Mother.
Just didn't like that.
And I said, I'm not doing
We
it.
have a little therapy on video here. Hey, if you want more of this, be sure to tune in on Saturdays. That's really when
Whoa. Oh, yes, we're dragging. I've been dragging stuff out all week and mixing up potions.
Yes, it has been quite the potion week.
And I'm still, I mean to tell you that, just look at my fingernail.
Hey, if you're watching this back at a later time, do check back over on our live streams, because that's what we're talking about, is that we will be doing a continuation of our sprays. Actually, I'm surprised that we didn't throw some of that in here.
I thought about it, but you know, I just
really
thought
just-
that background was
I know.
so beautiful and that paper so...
It is. Like, I wish you guys could feel that, because that is why we left it the way that it is, because it does have such beautiful, smooth finish. And it would be a sad thing to cover that up.
Muck it up.
Muck it up. And our baby. Look at her. Cute little hands. She's a hot mess.
Yes, she is. And boy, let me tell you what, at that stage of painting, she was going through a lot of paper.
Ugh.
And you know, it's so funny because I said, Mariah, you know, don't forget to put 2020 on there. And she's like, 2020? No, it was...
2019.
2019. Yeah, she wasn't even 3. Well, she's
And there I was
cut her teeth on colored pencils. So...
I kind of filled in like some of the paint stuff that I didn't keep as color when I printed it. I did the Photoshop work, so I came back in, which was kind of nice because then I could just do the Lellow and red. And you'll see, we're gonna fix red here in just a moment. See, I had to come in with those. I tell you what, if you don't have them on hand, those beauty, like the little pointed Q-tips, are a brilliant thing to have on hand. They work for all sorts of things. So we wanted to, since this was a memory, make sure that we did remember that that was Izzy in 2019. And then this is 2021. And we have actually stacks of pictures of Izzy that we want to scrapbook or whatever, but it seems like our journal pages are gonna happen faster than scrapbooking. You can't get that stuff out around her anyway.
Oh, no.
No, it's a hot mess. I mean, if we're doing anything with scissors, I mean, she's using scissors these days, and it's just...
Yeah, she trimmed her hair,
Yeah.
cut a hole in her pants.
Got mad at Gigi for...
I fixed it with really contrasting color just to remind her not to do that.
That's
We
not
call
like...
them the Frankenstein pants, and she won't wear them anymore.
We should do it. We need... Maybe that'll be one of our memories, and we could actually just cut those pants up and use them.
Use that little spot.
Because we should never get rid of those.
And we can put it with some of her hair that she cut off about the same time.
Oh, I think that would be lovely. Look at us.
Yeah.
Journal prompting and a little bit of weirdness. So there I was going over it because I was like, all right, I'm just going to bold this up ever so slightly. And the nice thing is that your handwriting, I can... It's familiar enough to me to go over. You know how some people, like, you wouldn't be able to really follow their flow?
Mm-hmm.
And certain lettering I do like.
I didn't realize
I don't
that you did.
scripty write as
I
well
thought
as you
about
do.
using that other more bold side, and I probably should
I
have.
don't think so. I like that it was just...
But then it would have made the white look really funny because the white's really
Exactly.
thin.
That it needed to be very similar. I just had to bump it up ever so slightly. Just kind of where that lifted in those one areas. Because it's so close to our dinosaur stomps. And I know that was supposed to be, like, the focal point was supposed to be animal, but again, like I said, it sort of goes into Izzy, which, you know, again, prompts are to be interpreted.
And let me tell you what, there are times when she is an animal. I mean, she howls and does the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. And then I was a little bit irked because I cut this thing exactly to the 8.5, 5.5. But then there was a little tiny bit left over. And then, let me tell you, so sometimes double-sided tape is the way to go, but man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, P does not.
I don't
She
even.
really shouldn't be let to do it because it makes her crazy and angry.
It does, because I usually mess up whatever it was that I was doing.
I'm gonna give myself a little pat on the back. I'm pretty good at it.
Well, she's done a ton of it. That's what she used on all.
Yeah, back in the card days.
Oh, yeah, and she'd use 3 or 4 layers of this stuff. This is amazing.
Let's just say that my cards are not to be mailed. For various reasons.
Yeah, they weren't quite the posy kind, those people that put posies on there.
Posies?
Posies.
What are you talking about, posies?
Well, you know, people that put posies on their cards, and I don't know how they get them through the mail. Flowers, posies.
Oh, like actual?
Yeah, like 3-dimensional flower fluff.
Well, I think it might end up like that card that Izzy got for Valentine's Day that, let me tell you, it came in a bag. I'm glad that there were still remnants of the envelope left.
That's the other thing, is I can't find those things, and I struggle with that.
I was also very impressed with myself on that one, because sometimes it does take a little bit of doing to get those things peeled off. Look at that. Then that one little white edge over there, I'm like, oh no, we're not having that. Mm-mm.
Oh wow, I can't even see it.
See,
look at there. Oh yeah.
Now the reds don't exactly match. That sort of bothered me, but
it's better than a white edge.
Yeah. I could have come in and just trimmed it, which I still could do that. I might do that. Just trim it up to that edge. But I think it's fine. Like, there you have it.
It's a freaking journal.
It's a freaking journal, man. It's an art journal.
Yeah. Perfectionism is not something
call
we
Liquid
strive
Fly
for.
Designs if you want graphic design work. For art journaling, it's PM Artist Studio. Hey, you know what? Like this video if you haven't already. Leave comments.
The bell,
Subscribe to the
bell.
channel. Ring that bell. Ring that bell. Bye.
Bye.